So what exactly is this book about, right? Well, the author, Josh Delaney, told World is One News back in November that the book incorporates tons of new insights from older books. He shared 3 from the book during his interview, one being that charisma is about being comfortable in your own skin. The second being a quote from Napoleon on courage, saying courage can't be counterfeited. It's a virtue which escapes hypocrisy. And the third insight came from a quote from renowned German scholar Nietzsche on miscommunications between men and women, saying the same passions in man and women nonetheless differ in tempo. Hence, man and woman do not cease misunderstanding one another. So these latest revelations from Paul and Max in this TMZ documentary, they suggest that Mangione's alleged radical tendencies may have been brewing for quite some time, right? But the extent of this internal turmoil, or what could be, it really wouldn't be fully realized until he allegedly shot and killed United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. By the way, how much of this will actually come into evidence, that's unclear, because there's an argument that all of this is irrelevant to the charges. Motive is not an element to these crimes that the prosecution has to prove. Sure, we would like to know the why, if he did this, right? Was he radicalized? When was he radicalized? How was he radicalized? But for purposes of criminal trials and these charges, it may not come in.
So that was what we were talking about.
Right.
Was he radicalized? We're hearing from TMZ that his motive was corporate greed. That may or may not be true, Mike, because there's the only official investigation of the official investigators, the NYPD detectives, right, the FBI agents, the ATF guys, all of these people that are on the case, they will do the official investigation. What we're hearing from a lot of the TV stations, some of them do a very good job of investigation, but it's pop culture. I mean, the whole thing about the Brooklyn House of Detention and he's in the same place as P. Diddy, who cares? Who actually gives a shit about that? It's meaningless, but it's pop culture and people find it titillating or, just newsworthy in some way, but it really means nothing, Mike.
It's pop culture, and you're right. It is a little bit meaningless, and even they admitted, the host there admitted that a lot of the stuff about going to Thailand and firing a firearm and wanting to buy 400 books, that's interesting for background information to try to figure out what's going on in that little head of Mr. Mangione, but as he said, your motive is irrelevant if they can prove that you the who, what, where, when, and how of the crime, the corpus delicti of the crime. Were you there? Yes. Were you armed? Yes. Did you use the firearm? Yes. Did you have it in your possession? Yes. Did you come into the city? All the things, the transportation in, staying there, and then leaving. All of that stuff has to be proven. Why you did something, we want to know, and jurors want to know, because it helps jurors when they're looking at the case and they're actually seeing it in the courtroom. They're understanding the background of why somebody, the reason why somebody would actually want to shoot somebody. But the prosecutor isn't required. They would love to bring that information out if they can. Of course, it's up to the judge to determine what is relevant and what isn't in a particular case. But the prosecutor would always love to let the jury know a little bit about why something happened, but they don't have to. If they can't prove it, they could suspect it, but if they can't prove it, then don't even bother. It's irrelevant. And remember, the judge, there's going to be so much evidence coming in for both prosecution and defense. A judge might say, we're not going to be talking about a trip to Thailand. What's the connection between Thailand and what he did in New York City? If you can't make that connection, we're not going to have any sort of witnesses. We're not going to have testimony on this. Nothing.
Absolutely. Lynn Horenstein, there is no doubt he is guilty and wrong, and perhaps he knew sacrifice himself. No excuse to kill. But can Congress look into insurance denials as a silver lining of this horrible murder? Lynn Horenstein, if that is the case, that if there's any silver lining to this, and again, a man lost his life, if it changes the insurance industry and it disallows insurance companies from negating people's claims, then that might be something a positive that comes out of a negative. And I cannot predict if, in fact, that will occur, but that would be something good that could occur from this. Simi Sharp, regarding the media outlets, right, Bill, some do a good job and some don't. So it's good to take all news with a grain of salt, in my opinion. Simi Sharp, you're very wise. That's so true. Was DNA results completed yet? Bo Peep, it depends on which DNA you're talking about. Reportedly, they recovered some DNA on a water bottle left at the scene. There was some, I believe, DNA on some ballistics, the spent shells that came back to him. So yes, there is DNA. I don't know specifically what specific items of evidence other than what I just listed in addition to. Folks, this Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories. Again, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button on the screen. Give us a thumbs up. Ring the bell. Share us with your friends and your family.